good news is it looks like we should have some breeze, and if you look at these slides here, so that's sort of the wind direction we're expecting today, with the wind out of the southwest, 200 to 220. And as you'll see, we're expecting this breeze, which is a gradient breeze created between the sort of lows and highs, sort of either side of us. It's not really a sea breeze building type breeze, it's a breeze that's going to sort of establish itself from about midday and probably be at its highest wind range between midday and 2 p.m. We could, at sort of 1 o'clock, we could be seeing 13 knots or something out there like that, which would be ideal. But we are expecting the breeze to fade, as this is indicated here. Our expectations are that we will do better than that, and hopefully that is true. The outlook going further looks difficult tomorrow. Once again, the breeze is back in the northeast, and that's going to follow through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well, which is once again a gradient breeze, and we expect a return to the breezes in the southwest later in the week, sort of Thursday on. Schedule today is a later start because of being the first day and a large sort of introduction to the event on broadcast. So the first race will start at 2:15, and we're expecting that race to be a 27-minute race. Our second race of the day, starting at 14:58, and we've put a window in there of 14:58 to 15:20, is to start that race for the Fusion Women's match racing final race. And then, if all goes to plan, at 15:47 we'll start race 2. So once again, in indicative courses, we'll have to see how much wind we have, whether we're on a C8 or a C6. Of course, that's 6 or 8 legs. And I've indicated here, which is optimistic on the wind, of sort of probably 11 or 12 knots, which is 4 laps, 8 legs on about 1.6 miles. Smaller version of that for the women, around 1 mile. We will attempt to do a longer race for them today. We've been sort of typically running 12 to 13 minutes, and we'll try to pump that up to 17 or 18 minutes on a 3-lap course. So that's the program for the day. We've obviously had quite a long week, trying to finalise the women's position. We managed to do so last night, so we're quite happy that we were able to complete all 4 races in the final program for them. Good races and 12 knots, so thanks for everyone for persevering and staying with us for that. Richard, what have you got to tell us?
I'll start with, don't ask me a question about yesterday. We haven't reviewed it. We finished about 8:30 last night, at which point we then started the preparations for the America's Cup umpiring. We thought we should take a bit of priority for that. From a rules perspective, racing rules, nothing has changed since the Louis Vuitton. There was a slight media weight change for the boats, for those who like that, just to cover a little bit more the cameras. Let's try and stop the cameras from moving around so that the aft cameras should be a little bit more stable. But the only other change was the sailing instructions, but that really was to bring the match sailing instructions in line with what were the end of the Louis Vuitton sailing instructions. So everything's aligned, and at the moment we've got a happy defender and a happy challenger record.
Look, I'm very confident in race 1, and I'm quite, I have a fair degree of confidence in the women's, bearing in mind that the women's minimum saleable wind is higher than the 75. So, you know, I think what's going to happen today is the breeze is going to be there. We're going to see some showers. The wind's going to sort of get sucked up into that, and you know, we'll probably need a little bit of patience to deal with that. But the underlying gradient breeze is going to be there. So I do have reasonable confidence that, you know, we'll get races in, you know, and probably the one most in jeopardy is the, you know, is the third race. And do you believe that sort of generally it's right down at the minimum wind level tomorrow, and sort of at this stage looks marginal. Yeah, look, the wind on Monday, Tuesday looks reasonable. It's still in that northeast, you know, which is an unusual wind direction, but we're seeing much more of that in October than we've seen any of the time during the summer. So once again, you know, it's sort of between systems. We will have rain, clouds, things. You know, it's not, the numbers look okay in terms of wind strength numbers, and sea state looks fine, but you know, it is going to be sort of a little bit sort of tropical in terms of what we get, and very localised sort of clouds and showers, and you know how they suck the gradient breeze in and spit it out. No, the discretion lays with me at any time if it's not a fair race. So yeah, you know, that was the first time we had abandoned a race during the race, but you know, I'm there looking at it going, you know, I want to give this group fair racing and have the right, you know, have proper racing for what they do, and in my opinion it was rubbish. And you know, when you know, you saw us attempt to run 2 or 3 races before that, and abandoned it with 15 or 20 seconds to go, and the boats can't get to the start, and they can't get on foils. And, you know, I think us imposing them into racing conditions which aren't really suitable for these boats is not fair.
And so you'd be prepared to do the same thing in the cup?
Yeah, I think, look, our job is to manage it so we don't get into that situation. But you know, it will depend where it is in the race and how it's placed. We're unlikely to do it in the race, but it is an option.